So in this segment, I'd like to take a look at Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg was talking about, his baby buying experience. And people always say, Jeremy, it's not baby buying. It's not baby buying. Let me be clear. Gay couples should not be able to adopt, period.
I'd say it's worse. It's human trafficking.
Yeah, I that's what I call it too.
Yeah.
And this guy literally in this interview catches himself referring to when he's buying his baby, getting a discount on it if it's not white. Like the whole thing. So let's just go into this and we'll look at this interview.
Oh, I can't hear anything.
No, can't hear it again?
Mm-mm.
Okay. My fault. My bad. One of these days I'm gonna get real prestige. Okay, here we go. This will work.
Older, his experience in the world probably different from yours. Like how would
let's go back to the beginning.
Have you thought about when you're
for those people that don't know, Pete Buttigieg is a gay man who bought 2 black babies. So because of course he did. Now he's like, oh, and then the black guy's gonna, because he's a Democrat, he's gonna try to press him about robbing them of their black culture, but he's too much of a puss bag to actually do it.
Son gets older, his experience in the world probably different from yours. How would you have those combos with him? Or even let's say your daughter, learning to deal with her hair. It's gonna be a little difficult. Like how?
Also, I will say this is something that black folks are always talking about. Like nobody on the planet other than black folks could possibly figure out how to do black people's hair.
That is just so dumb because it's
YouTube
funny.
exists. Give me a break.
It does, and that's the thing is like my mom, like growing up, like she had a friend that lived close on the military base who had a black baby, and she never knew how to do her hair, and mom knew how to do her hair. She did a great job with the braids and with that. Like she always had her hair looking really cute. My mom's really good with doing hair, but now especially with how YouTube exists and stuff. Why can't a white woman
anybody could
figure it out?
It's ridiculous.
Black women do white people's hair too. Like my best haircut I ever got was from a black woman. It's like,
there's no secret to it.
Science. It's hair.
There's every time I see there's like this old movie that I saw this TikTok where this like white woman had adopted a black child, and there was like black women at the pool with her, and they were like, you don't even know how to do her hair. It's like, what is that? Like, it's not a Rubik's Cube.
Exactly.
Like anybody can figure it out. Anyway.
Yep.
Have you thought about these things? Do they concern you?
Yeah, we think about it all the time, and it's not like we have it all figured out. So we were in.
But if anybody knows how important identity is,
of course. So we were
because you're gay. So like these guys are cucks. Like if anybody knows identity, it's like I'm gonna tell you what, Pete Buttigieg and his gay husband, and their 2 biracial babies live in a 95% white neighborhood. Those kids have no black identity. They will grow up in a white neighborhood with white parents and go to a white school. They will not be black. And what's going to happen is they're going to have all sorts of mental problems because of that, like emotional problems because of that.
We're in what's called a surprise adoption scenario. So we literally I was at work. I was traveling. We got a phone call. Chaston called me, and the next day we were in a rural Midwestern hospital holding him in our arms, and they were like 1 day old. Like it was like that, like just from like normal life to and by the way, it's twins, which was amazing.
You didn't know it was twins before.
We were just on a list. We said that we were willing to.
I'm sure they told him it was twins.
Yeah.
We wanted to adopt. We said that we wanted to adopt, and without regard for race. By the way, anybody who says race is not a thing in this country should experience an adoption process where there are literally different lists. If you say that you want a white kid only, versus if you say that doesn't matter. Like literally a different list.
What is that?
By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. If a black person said, I want a black baby, no one would have a problem with that. In fact, like if you're white and you adopt a white baby, at least you don't have to answer. Your kid's not going to ask the question why he doesn't look like you. Like that seems totally reasonable.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But also, what I find though, what I've seen from most adoptive parents is most of them don't have. They say, "Hey,
they don't care.
What the first one that's available, I want it." So most of them don't. But if those who do, that's reasonable.
Well, and like they go on to talk about like, well, the list for people that don't want white babies is longer. Well, and he implies that it's racism, of course. Who has the most babies in this country?
Right.
White people. Who adopts the most babies in this country? White people. So if black people were adopting as many babies, then the demand for black babies would be just as high. Exactly. I don't think that there are black families that are explicitly saying, I want a white baby. It's just that more whites are adopting. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
What do you mean by that?
The list for white kid only is longer. And
so?
Yeah.
Not only that.
He completely removes the context of like what I like. Obviously, white people want a white baby. It just makes that baby's life easier.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to grow up being like, why are you brown and your parents are, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of parents will adopt kids and never tell them they're adopted until they're ready. Well, when you're brown and your parents are white, and now you have to have that conversation when they're 4.
Right.
There was actually a discount, or you didn't have to pay a deposit.
Oops. Yeah.
Not only that, there was actually a discount, or you didn't have to pay a deposit.
He quickly changed his. He's like, "Ooh, black babies are on sale, honey. Want to buy one?"
We got a good deal. Buy one, get one free.
Yeah, 20% off. Yeah. We can use our Kohl's cash too. Like the whole thing sounds so transactional.
Yeah.
On the feet. This is like how it works. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. So we didn't know anything about the racial identity of the kids until they started to look mixed race, which they are. And
he gets off on that.
Oh, he does.
He does.
He's getting big time virtue points in his head.
Look at my black babies.
Like contending with like the hair thing is already like a thing, and like lots of advice, especially from like black parents who like see stuff on Instagram, or they're like, let me tell you how to do it. Like a lot of advice. And like to begin with, like the idea of being a girl dad and dealing with girl hair was pretty intimidating. Like my hair is like very simple and straightforward.
Why do these people think hair is so difficult?
I know, that's the thing. Take
the kid to the hairstylist. Done. What is going on?
Exactly. There are so many YouTube videos and TikTok videos for like curly hair routines, curly, kinky hair, all of it. Like you can figure it out.
And I mean, like, so what if you can't?
Right.
You take the kid in.
Take her somewhere to get her hair done, have the braids put in. That'll last a long time, and then take her back when they need redone. There you go.
Right.
Like I'm a low maintenance kind of guy, and like starting to learn about like all the different products that are involved. Him too. Like we have like a whole sequence with a conditioner and then essential oils, all this stuff.
Listen how he's trying to he's like, please.
And you're always asking yourself like,
community.
how can I be? You're already constantly asking yourself, how can I be a good dad? And now it's like, how can I be a good dad for kids who have a different racial identity than I do? And how can I help them navigate that? And what are the circumstances where there's nothing I can do to help them navigate that? And I need to connect them up to mentors and people in their lives, because the reality is like, this is not a colorblind society, and like their lives will be affected in some way by their racial. All of ours are, but one thing about being white is you don't have to think about the fact that.
Yeah, except for, all the crime targeting whites and the jobs.
Yeah.
The jobs that are excluding white people, and the anti-white messaging on
and being
mainstream
called
television.
a racist just because you are white, and being treated like you are racist by default just because you're white. Yep. Yeah,
and these idiots, and nobody's challenging him. I know the guy on the left, the black guys, Kamala Harris. He said that before. And then I'm pretty sure Akish, the other guy, is also a Democrat. And like, they're just sitting like, this black guy could have pressed him like, hey, don't you think that black kids should grow up with black parents? But he's like, oh, it's just so stunning and brave that you did. Like, this is the same guy that would be bitching about erasing culture, like guaranteed. But he's just like, oh, this is so great that these kids get to grow up without a mother, because, and like, it gets. I mean, what are your thoughts? Look, I get like, I'm not against adoption, and I think in like Pete Buttigieg's situation, at least he didn't do the baby buying Dave Rubin thing or Shane Dawson.
Oh,
where they get some
surrogate?
like, yeah, they at least took kids that needed a home.
Yeah,
I feel 1% better about that. I don't think gay couples should be able to adopt, period.
I agree.
But what do you think?
I think ultimately it should be just the only people allowed to adopt should be married couples.
Yeah.
That's just how, I mean, that's how things are. That's the proper foundation for it, and the best chance at life for the child with a healthy household like that. But no, it's like people who are choosing the gay lifestyle, which they are choosing that lifestyle. Nobody's forcing them to do it. They've already by default opted out of having children because they can't have children.
Yeah, they don't.
So
they don't want
if you
kids,
can't,
right?
then you should also be opting out of adopting as well, because that's child abuse to put a child through that kind of lifestyle that didn't sign up to have that kind of a lifestyle. And it's just the whole lifestyle. Obviously, as a Christian, I find the whole that whole gay lifestyle, all that kind of stuff, to be perverted and corrupt. So that's already wrong. But even from a more secular point of view, these people already chose this life that cannot have children, so they should not be able to purchase children, adopt children, all that kind of stuff.
They made that choice, right? I mean,
Yes.
I just think that there's a lot of whataboutism when you talk about this, especially on X, where they're like, well, there are kids that need to be adopted. Would you prefer they stay orphaned? Well, no, I would prefer that churches stepped up or more couples would adopt, male and female couples. If I had to, if all the couples in the world that wanted to adopt had babies, I want to know how many babies would be left over. All I hear from people who want to adopt is how long and complicated and expensive it is. Maybe we should make that process.
Why is
maybe
it
we
so
should make
hard?
that process easier. Yeah,
there are some great people who
you should
want
get
to
tax
adopt.
benefits for doing it.
Yeah,
you should
and
get all that stuff.
I know, on X, there's this Christian couple. They're in their 40s. They couldn't have kids together, and so they want to adopt, and they are having such a difficult time through the system of trying to adopt a child. And it's why is it so complicated, so expensive, and all this when you have healthy married couples who have very wholesome lifestyles and want to raise a child in need, and they can. And then you have these queers people living like this. And here's the thing too, is you're also, when you put a child in a household like this, then the risk increases for sexual abuse. It just does in this community. It just does. And then at the same time too, it's just it's better for a kid to be in the foster system, in my opinion, than to go to a gay couple.
Yeah, it'd be hard to it's I don't think children should be accessories. Now, I will say that I have all the same energy I do for Pete Buttigieg, Dave Rubin, Shane Dawson that I do for Madonna adopting black babies and Angelina Jolie adopting, black babies as accessories. Michael, Michael Jackson didn't adopt. That was his kid. Allegedly. But I want to see that for all the people that are by the way, there's nothing wrong with being adopted. I think adoption is one of the coolest things. It's something I've considered. And I think that the people that do it are genuinely, amazing people.
Oh yeah.
I have an aunt that has adopted 4 kids, and it was extremely difficult and extremely expensive. There are tax benefits to it, but if the financial aspect of adopting is any barrier, then just remove all of that. If there's couples that want to adopt, the process should take a month, not years. I get you have to do some level of vetting,
background check, stuff like that. Yeah.
But I mean, get these kids into good homes who want to adopt, and financially incentivize it. Because if you look, who's paying for them when they're in homes? The state anyway. So why not pay for them to be in a family that wants them? It's wild. It's wild, but I think this whole baby buying, again, Pete Buttigieg at least adopted, but the terminology he uses, it should not be a transaction.
No.
Like, and it's, I don't think that's what, like, it's just gross. And then the fact that he's like, well, can you believe that there's a discount on black babies? Maybe you should say, why don't black people adopt?
Right.
You know, why? Maybe you should look at it that way. If we're going to talk about it from a supply and demand thing, of course there's more white babies, and of course there's more demand for white babies. You know, for me, happy, healthy, fine. But yeah, if I was going to adopt, it would be a white baby because I don't want to ever tell them they're adopted unless I have to. Because it gives people, you know, if they come and ask, or maybe when they're old enough, you know,
Right.
and they can handle it. But you have a little brown baby, you're gonna have to have a conversation when they're a toddler, and they're not ready for that.